And now we're going to go to Representative Caldwell's bill, which is 5255. Do you want to tell them what the bill's about, Representative Caldwell?
I do. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Well, please proceed.
All right. Thank you. I'm very excited to be introducing House Bill H5255, which essentially allows breweries to sell more of their product and distilleries to folks there to take it home with them. This is a bill that will really help the small businesses in our community. It will put us in line more, I believe, with what other states do with their breweries. I know this bill was brought to me by the Brewers Guild, and I have a brewery in East Greenwich, Lineage Cider, and they're such a great part of our community. They're always hosting school events and sporting events, and they're always there to help us out. And I know that we've gotten a lot of testimony in favor of this bill, so I will let some of the experts speak to the issues that they have worked on. And I also want to thank Representative Place, who is here, who worked on the bill last year. And I didn't get to him before I introduced the bill, but he got his name on it there. So I'm really happy to have a broad coalition of folks here to help these small businesses stay afloat during the pandemic and get right on their feet afterwards. Thank you.
So this is an act relating to alcoholic beverages, manufacturing and wholesale licenses, breweries and distilleries. It modifies limitations on quantities of malt beverages and distilled spirits that can be sold at retail by certain licensed breweries and distilleries for off-premises consumption. So I believe we have a few witnesses here. We have massive amounts of written testimony in favor and opposed, but do we have someone on the line, Madam Clerk?
And then you could hit them.
So, Paul, are you there?
I'm here.
Paul McDonald, welcome to the House Committee on Small Businesses, and we're discussing House Bill 5255.
Yes.
Can you turn your
TV? Thank you very
TV?
much, Chairwoman, and thank you to the committee. Let me just say that it's a pleasure to talk to all of you, but I'd much rather meet all of you in person like we used to do in the old days. It's very difficult times we're under, but we'd like to thank you all for your service during this very difficult time. My name is Paul McDonald. I'm I'm the Legislative Director for Teamsters Local 251, and Teamsters Local 251 is strongly opposed to H5255, and this is not really good legislation in our opinion. It just further erodes middle-class jobs that Teamsters men and women perform every day. For those who may not understand, expanding retail at breweries take away from good jobs and distribution. It also hurts already struggling retail businesses who we look to as our friends and partners in work and jobs. The legislature has recently, by the way, you've increased what brewers can sell directly twice, I believe. I'm pretty sure about that in the past few years. And remember that Rhode Island liquor stores are locally owned by statute. And I don't want to see or look at the undercutting of our mom and pop liquor store owners. They are our friends and neighbors. These stores are staffed by our friends and neighbors, and they're serviced by our friends and neighbors. If the brewers want to become liquor stores, then maybe they should obtain liquor store licenses and pay the same fees and meet the same standards as our neighborhood stores. I want to be clear about it, though, committee members. Teamsters are strong partners and support the three-tier system. And I would try to answer any of the questions you may have. But we are opposed to this bill for obvious reasons. We looked at it as another job-killing type of legislation that hurts our membership. So I would be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Paul. I believe the sponsor, Representative Caldwell, wants to discuss. She has some questions.
Sure, I'd be glad to answer them.
Hi, Paul. I also miss seeing you in person, so I'm sorry that we're doing this in this very weird way. First I have a comment, which is that my understanding was this bill is changed from last year's bill that Representative Moran had sponsored, because they took some of the considerations of you guys into making this new bill. But you're going to have to, I think, explain to me a little more clearly how this bill that allows these local breweries to sell just a little more of their craft beer off-site when people come and visit them, to drink it on a day out, how that erodes a lot of middle-class jobs. That connection is not clear to me.
Well, I would say this. I think now, and I'm not sure of this, but I believe they can sell a case of beer at their local brewery, which was increased only a year or two ago. But now they want to go to 10. That's the business that the retail stores should be doing. The distributors make the deliveries to the retail stores. Teamster members, men and women who work in that business, are good middle-class paying jobs with good benefits, good retirement. So when we start letting microbreweries or whatever sell beer like that, that's not going to the liquor store, and there's no business. They're eliminating them. The three-tier system has worked, and I just don't see the need to replace that. I mean, who would go to a brewery, have a few beers, and decide to buy 10 cases anyway? I don't get that part. My God, what would they be? Who buys 10 cases at a time, yet they want that? Well, it would say to me that some small bar room or something or other might be able to grab 10 cases and put it on the ice for the weekend or whatever. I don't know. But that's one of the reasons, because it just erodes our good-paying jobs.
Yeah, I hear you, and obviously nobody wants to ruin any good-paying jobs that still exist during this pandemic. But, I have to respectfully disagree. I think folks who go to a brewery and buy beer to go home is not taking away businesses where they might go to a liquor store and buy a box of wine, for example, or anything else that they want to bring home. At these craft breweries, you can only buy the beer that they make there, right? So that's a very specific product. So I remain skeptical of the idea that this is going to take away any business from local liquor stores. And in fact, you might have more people around, buying things, going to all these breweries. So I have to disagree with you on that one.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time anybody ever disagreed with me, but I would ask you to talk to the distributors like McLaughlin Moran, Syntrex, Johnson Brothers, who hire all these Teamster men and women to make those kind of deliveries to those liquor stores, and there are plenty of craft beers being sold in those stores. And just as a side note for everyone, the Teamsters actually reached out to the brewers, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the name of the person, and I think it was something like Jerry Ruff or something like that from Lineage Cider Brewing.
It's Jeremy from Lineage Cider in East Greenwich.
Yeah, that's the guy. I remember I set the meeting up, and they walked away from it.
Great guy, one of my favorite constituents.
Well, he was a nice fellow, but I mean, he walked away from us, and we tried to work with them. So I disagree with you, unfortunately, also.
Well, that's the first time that's ever happened to me here. So
it's less business for the retailer, less business for the distributor, and more business for the microbrewery. That's what it comes down to.
Well, Paul, maybe we can get you and Jeremy back together with Justine, and maybe there's a compromise somewhere in this discussion.
Well, I'm sure I'm always ready and available to talk to anybody that would discuss what's going on. We're more than interested, but I don't know what to say. It's still protecting good-paying middle-class jobs. I mean, I don't know what those little breweries pay, but I'm betting the farm that they don't even come anywhere near what a Teamster member gets paid to deliver their product, or not even have the benefits close to them. So I don't know where it improves the economy of the worker in Rhode Island at all.
Anybody else have a question of this witness? Representative Phillips.
Good afternoon, Paul, or should I call you the legend?
Oh, thank you for that. I don't like to be a legend, though. That means I'm a little older than you.
You are more wiser than we are in certain cases, so we'll put it that way. You had made a comment about maybe a bar or something would come in and buy the 10 cases and put it into their bar and that. Would it help?
Yes.
Would it help if there was an amendment put in that said that nothing can be resold? It had to be for consumer. And I didn't read it so well that it might be in here in some of the finer print, but it cannot be resold. It can only be used for the consumption at a consumer's home or like a party. If I were to throw a party at my house or a barbecue or something after all the restrictions are lifted and I wanted to buy 5 cases so that people can taste one of the craft beers in the area, would that help the Teamsters to be a little bit more amenable to this?
Well, always a good thinker that you are, Representative, but I'm sure that we would not enjoy that kind of a system either. I spoke to it earlier. The 3-tier system has been around since Prohibition, right after Prohibition. And the basic structure of that system is that producers can sell their products only to the wholesale distributors. And then who then sell it to the retailers. And only retailers, they sell it to the consumers. That's the way it's been for time immemorial. Producers, that includes, brewers, winemakers, I guess, too, and importers. I think if you like a beer, you could find a liquor store to buy it. And if the producer sold their product to the distributors, there wouldn't be any problems. Look, the bottom line, I think it's unfair to be a producer who wants to sell product to the public at the expense of the liquor store owners. It just it's not competitive anymore. I mean, in terms of business, it just hurts the little guy a little more.
Thank you for your answer.
Representative Courtfriend. Did I get it right?
Yeah, court friend.
Good.
Hi, hello, Paul. I do have a question.
Hi, nice to hear from you, Rep.
Can you explain what the difference would be between what we're talking about today for the breweries and what the wineries are allowed to do now? Because I do have Greenville Vineyards in my district, and I believe that they don't have a limitation on what you can purchase at the vineyard. So why would this be different?
Well, I don't know about the wine. I believe in this legislation, though, that they've asked to increase the amount of wine that they can sell. So I suppose they are restricted as to how much they can sell. If I recall, I forgot it now, it's 1.75 liters or something like that it was in there. I saw that, and that's as much as, if they wanted to sell more than that, I guess they'd have to legislatively hook on to this one. I don't know. I mean, let me boil it down to this. Every time we don't get a case of beer or a case of wine or a case of liquor to bring to the liquor store, it's less work for our members, and it hurts us, and it hurts us badly, because the less of the product that we are able to deliver. There are all kinds of things happening in our world regarding jobs, and it's the kind of bringing it down to a lower level in terms of compensation, benefits, retirement packages, sick leave, sick days, if you will. This is not good legislation. I don't believe it helps our communities at all. And the people we're talking about, as I said earlier, they're our friends and our neighbors. There's plenty of them too.
Thank you. I'm gonna check in with my with the vineyard in my district and just double check on that. But thanks for
Yeah, and I
answering the
think
question.
that's fair. And by the way, we're not interested in changing anything. Leave it the way it is. We're fine with the way it is. We didn't fight it too much the last time when they wanted to make the change, but now we're starting to grow again. And I would bet we go to 10 cases. We'll be back here again in a couple of years. We'll want to go to 20 or 30 or 40. Whoever knows what. I'll bet.
Chairwoman,
Thank you.
Chairwoman McAtee, this is Julie Casimiro. Can I make a comment, please?
Oh, absolutely, Julie. I'm sorry.
No problem. Hi, Paul. It's nice to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm getting visitors from all over. Here I am at home.
I just wanted to make a comment because I have a brewery in my district. It's Tilted Barn, and I believe another one is popping up in Exeter. So if there is a meeting between you and Representative Caldwell and Lineage Cider Brewing, I would love to be part of that.
Well, that's fine with me. We'd love to see all of you there. You're all welcome if they want to have a meeting, but I don't think they're interested. They weren't the last time.
Okay. If there is a meeting, I'd just like to participate. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Great.
Representative Casimiro. Anybody else have any questions of this witness? Comments? Hearing none. I believe that ends all the testimony, the verbal testimony on House Bill 5255. Is that correct? Thank you. And
I have a comment. I have a comment, Carol.
Okay, Representative
sorry.
Carson.
I didn't realize that there was no one else speaking. I have maybe a question for the sponsor. I have a couple questions. Do you know if liquor stores are paying an excise tax on beer? And do we know if the breweries are also paying an excise tax on beer?
Lauren, I don't know the answer to either of those questions, but I can find out for you and report back.
I think that's an important question because I'm not an expert on this, but I am friends with some liquor store owners in my district, and they were concerned about the fact that, if I remember correctly, that they were paying the excise tax, and that, I don't know about the wineries, Terry raises a good question, but, that the breweries might not be paying that excise tax. So I think that my comments are that similar to the comment I made when the Lieutenant Governor was here, and that is that the business climate is changing. And I think that Paul's comments are well put, that this has been the structure of this industry for many years, and it's changing. The structure of the industry is changing. And we need to, incorporate that change into our policy, but we also need to make sure that we're not really hurting other types of industries or business owners by embracing the new parts of these industries. And I think that I've been on this committee for 6 years, and we keep hearing these bills over and over again about this. So I would encourage us to think out of the box about how we can equalize the playing field on these issues. And see if there's a way to come up with a new way to think about this. But I think the tax issue is important because I think there are some other issues around, and I'm not an expert on this, and I would ask if the attorney for this committee can do some research for us on this. I'm also interested in knowing if we ship wine, say from California, because I have a favored vineyard there, and I buy a case of wine, are they paying taxes? I think there could be some tax loophole questions here that may be worth looking into. That would give an advantage to the breweries. Now, why don't the breweries want to sell through liquor stores? Representative Caldwell, can you answer that question?
Well, I can answer a couple of the questions now, thanks to the wonderful folks here at the State House, which is that the excise tax is paid at the distributor level. So it's the distributors who pay the excise tax.
Is anybody talking? I can't hear them.
Can you not hear me, Lauren?
I didn't hear you, but I got a text saying that breweries do pay the tax.
All right, can
So
you
I guess
hear me?
we got an answer to that.
Can you
But
hear me
why
now?
don't they want to deliver to liquor stores? Like, why don't they just sell through the existing system?
No, wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so first, yes, the distributors pay the excise tax.
Yeah, I just got that.
Yeah, and so before your other question, I just wanted to respond to one of your comments that really came up when we were talking about this bill when I was asked to introduce it. In terms of the liquor stores and the new ways of doing business, like, you know, we don't want to hurt anyone's businesses, needless to say, but I think we all know that liquor stores have really thrived during this pandemic. They have done very well. You know, they're one of the only businesses that has probably done financially better during the past year than any other business. And so, you know, helping the breweries have suffered. They can't have large groups of people in there. They can't have, you know, soccer teams and, you know, a packed weekend with kids playing and pets playing and food trucks, right? So many of our local food trucks that rely on those breweries, you know, haven't been able to be there. So I do think like this is a year where the liquor stores, you know, are going to have to make a compromise. Now, I think they do want to sell in the liquor stores.
Let me react to that, though, Justine. Let me react to that.
Yeah.
That may be true, but I don't know that we should change the laws forever because one industry had one good year.
No,
I think that if you want to just, that's not a good reason to change a law forever.
No, I agree. But in terms of their opposition, I think this is a good law regardless of that. But, you know.
Yeah, but before COVID, though, I've been
yeah.
on this committee for 6 years and heard these bills for 6 years. And
Yeah.
I've heard 3 years ago, I'm just telling you what my constituents are telling me. That's all I'm doing.
I don't think they don't want to sell to the liquor stores. I don't know why the breweries wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, that would sort of solve the problem.
I think some of them are calling in because they had signed up to testify. Actually, Matt from Tilted Barn, Julie, and Jeremy from Lineage Cider, I think, are going to be able to be on the phone, so you can talk to them about it.
Okay.
Everybody hold on for 1 minute. I want to recognize Representative Slater, who is with us, and do you want your votes recorded in the affirmative, Representative Slater?
Yeah, I just unmuted myself, Chairwoman. Sorry, I had another lottery commission meeting, so I appreciate it if you could record my to hold for further study. I think that would be the vote that we took.
Right.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you for recognizing me.
Oh, thank you for joining us, Representative Slater. I know you're busy with several committees. Anyway, I believe we have a caller right now. What's his name, Justine?
Matt.
Hello, Matt. Is that you
Yeah.
from the Tilted Barn?
It is, yes.
Well, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Oh, great. Yes, I have a lot that I would like to speak about that I had planned, but I feel like there's also a lot that I would like to address with the questions that have just been asked with the first Speaker Paul there. But I'll just start by saying that I fully support House Bill 5255. This bill will help small breweries who are some small businesses in Rhode Island that have been severely impacted recently, not just from COVID, but really just from the fact that the laws in Rhode Island have been very prohibitive for us historically, especially compared to our neighbors around us. As you all have heard recently, Rhode Island only allows us to sell one case per person. This is by far the fewest for any state in New England. Actually, most states in New England, there is no limit on what breweries can sell out of their own brewery. Maine, you can do more than 5 cases even. Connecticut is 3. That's the next fewest, and we are far behind what other states are allowed to do, and it really impacts us as a business to thrive and grow. And more recently, with what has happened with COVID, we have all small businesses recently been forced in this, take-out to-go model that we've had to adjust to. And the fact that we have these small limitations as to what we can sell out of our establishment is, even more of an impact to us as we're trying to get through these tough times. We, as breweries in the Rhode Island Brewers Guild, we have worked and communicated with a lot of different groups, including the Teamsters, wholesalers and retailers, on ways to kind of come up with something that we can all agree to and benefit from.
it's obvious it's hard for all of us to come to the same exact conclusion, but this bill is really a compromise over what has been done for a couple of years. The main thing I think that hasn't been brought up so far is that there is a tiered system within this bill, and what it does is it allows smaller breweries to increase to this 10 case per person limit out of the brewery. It requires the bigger breweries, who are really the distributing breweries right now, to remain at the 1 case per person limit. Virtually every brewery in Rhode Island right now is a very small brewery that doesn't distribute much beer to liquor stores. The larger breweries are the ones who are distributing their beer to the stores right now, and they are going to continue at the 1 case per person limit. So this is not going to impact any distribution agreement with the Teamsters, with the wholesalers. It's not going to pull beers off liquor store shelves. They're going to remain the same. Most of the breweries that are going to benefit from this bill don't distribute as it is anyway. We just don't have enough beer. We don't make enough. We're very small. These larger breweries, they honestly spill more beer every week than we make every week. So it's really not going to impact that whatsoever. And I do have a very big issue with the fact that we're not being painted in the light of local small businesses in Rhode Island. We are all family owned. We are all family run. We're on a farm here that's been in my wife's family for over 50 years. I mean, you don't get much more local and small business and family run than that. And we have a great staff. We have great employees. We pay them well. I don't really know where that all came from, but that couldn't be further from the truth. So that's basically what I have to say about on that side of things. This bill is going to be a huge boost for small businesses, a huge boost for small breweries, and it's going to allow us to grow and eventually get to the point where we can distribute and we can sell to some of these liquor stores and go through the distributors to get down that chain. But we need something like this to help us get to that point. And on the one thing I do want to say with wineries is that the representative that asked that question is absolutely correct. Wineries can sell whatever they want right now. For some reason, they have always been allowed to. This bill does not discuss wineries because they're allowed to sell whatever they want right now. So that's that, and I would really love to answer any questions you may have about this. On the brewing side of things, I don't know much about the Teamsters. I don't try and talk about what they do or distribution channels in general, but I do know a lot about breweries and this bill, and I would love to answer any questions you may have on it.
Well, thank you, Matt. I have a question. Do you know what other states like Massachusetts and Connecticut are doing regarding how much can be sold at the breweries?
Yes, Massachusetts, there are no limits. You can sell as much as you want to each person that comes to visit a brewery. Connecticut just recently increased to 3 cases per person, so 3 times what we're doing right now. And Connecticut is the next smallest above us, so we're a third of them.
Thank you, Representative Courtfriend.
Can you speak a little bit about how this is a convenience to your customer that's coming in the door, that they don't necessarily want to have to go to another location? They're at your facility enjoying your product and they want to take it home?
Sure, yeah. I mean, what is really happening with craft breweries right now in Rhode Island, across the U.S. really, is that people are traveling to our breweries as a local business because they want to come and try and see what we have, try a beer and take some home. And so it's really become a sort of it's a day trip thing, really. It's part of the tourism economy. People come from all over Rhode Island. They come from out of state to come and see what each brewery has to offer. And they want to come sample our beer and take some home. And what we've seen over the years that we've been open is that Rhode Islanders understand that our laws are tough and that they're not going to be able to take much of our beer home. And so luckily we're a small state. Some people do travel, but the people in the northern part of the state, they don't really want to come see us if they can only take a small amount home. What we're seeing from people coming in from out of state is they come from, say, Massachusetts, where they can buy whatever they want. They travel here, they drive a couple hours, they go to our other restaurants, they stop at the gas stations in the state, and then they come here to get to the brewery, and we say, no, sorry, I can only sell you 1 case, and they don't come back. It's sort of a one and done, we call it, because it's not worth them driving here and pumping money into our economy when we can't sell more than what they want to take home. So that's really the issue with what we have, is that people want to come here, they want to support us, we're local, we're small businesses, and they're just not allowed to take home. It's not worth the trip to come back more than once for them.
You don't happen to know what the law is in Vermont, do you? Because I've been to a couple of breweries there, and people come from, the tags are from everywhere. I was amazed at how many people show up.
So Vermont is unlimited, and the brewery industry is one of the largest tourism industries in their state. It's one of the highest, it's got one of the biggest impacts in terms of jobs in the state. Because of we're manufacturers. We're manufacturers that drive people to come and visit us. It's a very unique opportunity. And when people come to visit the breweries, like in Vermont, like you said, and they can go and they can tour the entire state and visit all these breweries and buy a whole bunch of beer to bring home with them, it just pumps money into that economy. And Rhode Island has not seen it because we have these limitations on what we can sell. Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, all the states have laws that really support this, and it's really driving that industry, not just the brewery industry, but the tourism industry, the hospitality industry. And until something's changed in Rhode Island, we're not going to see that.
While we have you, can you tell us what Maine and New Hampshire are?
New Hampshire is unlimited also. You can sell whatever you want. Maine is more than 5 cases. It's like 5 1/3. They set theirs on the size of a keg, actually. So, but it's more than 5 cases in Maine.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions from the members of the committee? Representative Phillips?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matt, I just have a quick question. What has people come to you and said that I want to buy 10 cases? Or what's the maximum that somebody has come and said, I'd like to, maybe from out of state, do they say, I want to take 3 cases back to my home to have a party or be able to enjoy and then come back?
Yeah, exactly. You hit a number of points. We have people from out of state that do come and say, I will buy 4, 5, 10 cases, whatever you will sell me, because I just drove 6 hours to get here and I don't want to come back again. So they want to buy as much as they can. We get people that are having that, Memorial Day barbecue party, and they say, hey, we really want to support our local brewery. I'm down the road from you. Can I come and buy, 6 cases for this party I'm going to have? I say, no, I can't. I can only sell you 1. We also see, especially recently with COVID, we see people saying, hey, we have a guy who comes to us almost every week and says, I placed my order for my case, and, my son, he just tested positive. He can't come to buy his case. I'd like to take his home too. And we say, I'm sorry, I can't. I can only sell you 1 case. Even though it's his order, we can't legally give you more than 1 case to take home. Or someone is, say, hurt or sick and, can't come pick up their order. We can't give that person their wife, their friend, their son's order because we can only sell them 1 case, and we can't make that sale anymore.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions? Representative Fenton Fung?
Matt, thank you so much for enlightening us on a number of issues here today. I apologize, I'm not really an expert in this area whatsoever. How many breweries do we have in this state right now?
We have just over 30.
Okay. Would you happen to know if any of them also sell in liquor stores?
So, of the roughly 30 breweries we have, there are about 3 that are over the 75-100 barrel limit that this bill would impose to keep at the 1 case per person limit. Of the, those 3 breweries have a very high presence in liquor stores. The remaining, 27 or so, not so much. I mean, maybe occasionally we are able to sell some here or there, but the majority of our beer is sold out of the breweries because we don't make a lot. We're very small. It's not, you picture these Budweiser plants with these huge tanks everywhere. I mean, that's not us. We're very small. We don't sell a lot. What we do make, we generally sell out of our brewery.
I appreciate that. And again, too, just to try to look big picture here in the state, is there one area that's geographically very dense with these microbreweries?
There are a few towns that have more than 1. Pawtucket has a couple. Providence obviously has a couple. But we're generally pretty well spread out throughout the state. There's really not sort of like an epicenter of breweries in Rhode Island.
And this is more big picture again, and I apologize. Just while you're here,
Sure.
You're obviously very knowledgeable. Outside of this one area, are there other areas that are preventing your business from growing?
No, this is really it. I mean, like I said, most people now with what's going on with craft breweries, they're very different times, they're very different scene over the past 5 to 10 years. They really want to come to our location to experience what we're doing, to see the beer being made, to support our small business, and they want to be able to buy as much beer as they can, or they're willing to stay home. So, I mean, really, this is the one part of our business that has really been difficult. It's sort of handcuffing us, and it's something that we'd love to see changed.
I appreciate your answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Geraldo.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I guess this question is for the sponsor, or really for any of my fellow committee members. Do we know of any other food or drink business that is regulated in this manner, where we're limiting the amount of product that can be sold at any given time? I'm just, honestly curious and unaware of others that where we have this type of oversight on.
I don't know of any. I don't know if anybody else does.
No, I don't know of any. I would imagine the rules are surrounded the licensing that you have to get to sell liquor and that sort of thing. But again, as Terry pointed out, I think, we know that vineyards can sell as much of their wine that they want. That doesn't seem to be hurting their sales inside liquor stores. I think wine is still abundantly popular. And so, I don't know of anything like that. Matt, who is much more eloquent and knowledgeable than me on this issue, you might know a little better.
I just want to say that the liquor sales is very regulated, at least, especially liquor stores. You can only have one liquor store per 6,000 residents in any city or town. So if you look around, like South Kingstown has 30,000 residents. So they could have 5 liquor stores. They only have 4. So this is all statutory. And you could probably count Central Falls, how many liquor stores do they have based on how many people are living in the city. So there is a lot of regulation that goes on with alcohol. This is a whole new area, I would say, to some, recent development with these breweries. So where they fit into all of this is something for us to determine, really.
Thank you. I was just thinking of, as I do my shopping, are there any other food or drink that I'm limited in terms of how much I can buy when I go to
just toilet paper.
right. And so with that being said, it just puts, helps put this conversation into context. So thank you for that information.
Representative Cortfriend.
I have one more question for you, Matt. I was looking at my local brewery's website, and they're selling online. And is that an avenue that's open to you?
Yes, we started with when COVID hit. Most of us have started to a pre-order online. So you can place an order online and then come to the brewery to pick it up, sort of curbside model. A lot of us have adjusted to that.
But you're not.
So
you're not shipping out of state.
We're not allowed to ship. No, we can't ship. So it's that you place an order. That way, the order is here waiting for you when you come. But nothing is being shipped. We're not allowed to do that.
Okay. Thanks. I was just curious about that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions of this witness? Seeing none, I guess we're going to go to the next witness, which is Jeremy Buff. What? Ruff?
Not allowed to ship. No. Yes.
Jeremy, are you here?
Yes, I am.
So the floor is yours, Jeremy. You're at the House Committee on Small Business.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. I appreciate it. My computer was a little delayed, so Matt was still talking, and I definitely appreciate you having me on to testify today. I definitely appreciate the opportunity. Matt definitely covered a lot of stuff, and some of the questions were really great. Definitely filled in some gaps on the bill itself. And I'd just like to reiterate a few points there. Definitely this bill is geared towards small breweries. That is really the purpose of this bill. It's to help them to grow, increase their sales, open up avenues to them to expand and eventually hopefully distribute in the future. So in terms of just wanted to elaborate a little bit on the small brewery aspect of that too. So Matt did a great job kind of talking about our breweries. The majority of our breweries right now are new. They what we consider taproom breweries, in that they serve to the public, tastings, pours, and almost all of their sales, if not all of their sales, are on premise. So they're very small, they're microbreweries. They're at a point where they can't really distribute, and those that are starting to expand or grow are distributing a very small amount of their product, and it's more for marketing purposes. Just given their size, they're not able to fund the brewery off of distribution itself. So we rely heavily upon that. Given the pandemic, though, our smallest breweries were probably the hardest hit by the pandemic, and that goes back to the shutdown that we had and the reduced capacity that we're still experiencing right now. A lot of us have a very small tap room, and limiting the amount of sales that we can have, or the amount of people that we can have into the facility, is definitely taken a toll on our smaller breweries. And then to further restrict us, we have the restrictions on off-premise sales in terms of one case per brewery and or per person per day, and that definitely is hindering us more in terms of like what we're able to sell, and the fact that we're actually turning customers away that we desperately need right now because they're over the capacity, over the amount that we're able to sell them per day. Is difficult, and we saw this very early on too with when we were just doing off-premise sales, and we had customers which had to come multiple times a week to do pickups because of that limitation. So not only was it hindering the ability for us to sell to them, but then it's also exposing them to possible risk with COVID by multiple trips to the breweries or multiple trips outside. So definitely we were seeing a major impact there. But overall, I think our microbreweries were definitely hardest hit. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling here because I think Matt covered a lot of what I was going to talk about. But in terms of like the smaller breweries too, not everybody is set up for canning as well. So that was another challenge that a lot of those breweries saw. They weren't able to package their beer to go, and that was another showstopper for them. Luckily, we had a great community where we came together and helped each other out, helped some of those smaller breweries package and at least generate some sales during COVID. But as of right now, we're definitely struggling. We have limited indoor seating. Outdoors is challenging now. We were fortunate enough to get a great grant from the state, the Take It Outside Rhode Island grant to buy heaters and igloos. But not every brewery was able to take advantage of that, unfortunately, because they didn't either have the space or capacity to be able to do that. Overall, like definitely we're still feeling the impact of that. This bill in itself, by expanding the limits on what we can sell at our brewery, would definitely help some of those struggling breweries generate more sales. When we first started looking at this bill back a couple of years ago, we definitely we reached out to distributors, wholesalers for feedback, input as we were looking to expand those limits. And we took that into consideration and developed this two-tier system. So the smallest breweries would be able to package more for on-site sales, allowing them to grow hire additional people, expand their operation, and hopefully eventually become the size where they could start distributing and working closely with our distribution and retail partners. With regards to the Teamsters, I did want to just touch base on Paul's questions and comments. We definitely did chat last year about this bill, and at the time we were looking at it, it's still a small business bill where we could hopefully expand the brewing industry within the state by these new measures, allowing the breweries to sell more, and in doing so, be able to ship more eventually to distribution to our retail partners. It was really a gateway to getting more sales out there for the industry. So we are part of that 3-tier system, and definitely are looking to support that, and want to definitely have a bill that represents that, and we're open to compromise there. So I'm definitely willing to sit down with Paul again and talk about the bill and how we can work together. We're very open in that aspect. So one of the other things I did want to touch on too is just the other small businesses that are part of our industry as well. So I can't remember, there was one question where that kind of came up a little bit, but in terms of obviously most of the breweries are small businesses in the state, but not only that, a lot of our materials that we purchase are from local small businesses as well. We get local labels. A lot of the boxes that we use are produced right here in the state. We work hand in hand with some local farmers in terms of some of the ingredients that we use in our product. We also send out our spent grain to those farms to feed their livestock. It's a great partnership and one that's been very successful over the years. And another one that was touched on a little bit was the food trucks. A lot of our sites, our tap rooms, they don't have food, and we've got this great relationship that we've been able to build over the years by working with some of the local food trucks and creating a site for them to do their pop-ups. So it definitely feeds into other small businesses which are critical to our industry and also the state. But overall, definitely we fully support this as the guild, this new bill, hoping that everybody can see that the benefits that definitely outweigh any of the negatives in this bill, and the benefits of being able to sell additional products directly to our customers and not have to turn them away when we desperately need the sales. So.
All right, well, thank you, Jeremy. But in no way are you or any of your people that also work in breweries or own breweries, you're not looking to just deliver your product to the liquor stores and bypass the Teamsters. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely not, and it's actually against the law for us to do so.
Right.
We have to, so whenever we distribute, we have to go through a licensed distributor in the state. We fully support the 3-tiered system and are not trying to bypass that in any way.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions for this witness? Hearing none, we're going to go on to the next witness. I believe it's Tamara McKinney. She's from Apponaug Brewery. Is this Tamara? Are you there?
I am.
The floor is yours, Tamara. We're on House Bill 5255, which, as you know, has to do with breweries and distilleries. So, what would you like to say?
Anyway, I would like to thank everyone on the committee allowing us to testify. I would like to thank my fellow brewers and competitors for testifying. And I just wanted to address a few items that had not been talked about earlier. I think it would be useful to acknowledge that craft breweries and brew pubs all employ different business models. That would, the question had come up earlier, why don't just all breweries go right to liquor stores? Every brewery is as different as a restaurant. McDonald's is very different from Capriccio's. So I think you have to acknowledge that while we all manufacture the same product, we all employ different business models, and different things will work differently for our individual business. You've heard talk today about tap room centric breweries. Those are the breweries that really rely on consumers who come into our tap room, purchase our beer, and then want to take some of our beer home. We happen to be a brew pub, so therefore we're a restaurant. We sell food. We can sell as much food as we want to an individual person. However, we cannot sell as much beer. To answer the question before about whether that had come up about, whether food is also a regulated industry. Most of our customers really only want to purchase 1 or 2 4-packs. They don't want to buy 10 cases of beer. But what happens is when we do have that customer who's a loyal consumer of ours, having an important celebration, we can't help them out. And for people who are in the hospitality industry, it's difficult to say no. So that's one of the things that I just wanted to talk about, why we're looking to increase these limits. And I really wanted to talk about, we do actually distribute our beer through a distributor, not a lot, because we're, again, pretty small. We don't make a lot of beer. And we have a very collaborative relationship with them. I have a great deal of respect for the 3-tier system, and I have a great deal of respect for the local liquor stores that carry our product. We go in there, we cultivate that relationship, and it's a very...
Tell those
two,
you're going to testify.
It's a very positive one. And I would never do anything to jeopardize that relationship. And I believe that this bill will help many small breweries financially, but it will not, in fact, harm the 3-tier system. Larger breweries, as people have talked about, remain the same. So the breweries that do distribute a lot of their beer will still need to rely on their distributor. They will still rely on the Teamsters to drive their beer around. This bill does not jeopardize that, but what it does do is to provide a leg up to smaller companies who are trying to grow and allow them to take that capital and put it back in their business. The question was asked, are there other constraints to our growth? One of the things that is a constraint to growth is that it is a very capital-intensive business, as is most manufacturing. So the more money that small breweries can keep by being able to sell directly to the consumer small amounts of beer, they can then take that money and invest it back into their manufacturing facility. So I thank you for allowing me to talk, and I can answer any questions if anybody had any.
Any questions from any member of the committee? Seeing none, our next witness is Representative Place, who's here with us today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. I have a comparable bill that I submitted in conjunction. I've also signed on to Representative Caldwell's bill. So to save everybody's time, I'm going to go ahead and just testify now. I do support Representative Caldwell's bill. The primary opposition to this legislation is based off the Teamsters' assumption that there's a zero-sum game between these breweries and the distributors. So they assume that because you sell a case of beer out of a brewery, that someone's not selling a case of beer out of a local liquor store. That's not the case. That's just it. That's not what's going on. The people that are coming to these breweries, we have one in Burrillville. I'll give them a plug right now, Bravo Brewing in Pasco. When you're sitting there on a Friday or Saturday night, you've probably got about 75% of people from out of town. Those people are not stopping by the local liquor stores to buy beer. They're just coming up here just to go to Bravo. They're going up there just to go to Bravo Brewing, and that's it. So they're not competing. That's the misnomer. There is no zero-sum gain between the liquor stores and the breweries. It's a tourism thing. Someone will come up from Warwick to Burrillville and want to drink the Bravo Brewing beer. I'll want to go down to somewhere in South County, want to buy the beer down there. It doesn't change my consumption habits at my local liquor stores. I still buy the stuff there. This is important to these local breweries because I've been at a location, I've been at a brewery where a bus will pull up, a large bus will pull up with a load of folks from Massachusetts, and they're there just to go around to different breweries to taste and buy and bring it back to Massachusetts. And when they show up and they realize, this is before the one case, by the way, so this is before the one case, but even at one case, when they realize all they can do is get one case, you see the look of disgust on their faces because they really like the stuff and they want to take it home to Massachusetts. And that's how folks get into the distribution market. These local small craft breweries aren't going to get in the distribution market unless there's someone who wants to buy it at the other end. So I know one of the other members of the committee asks, why don't they distribute? Well, they just don't have the demand for their product yet. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build demand, and that demand is built by having a friend come down to Rhode Island and buy 4 or 5 cases of beer and bring it back up to somewhere in Massachusetts, and then they give it to their buddy, and their buddy finds out about it, and now their buddies are coming over. And before you know it, they're going to their local liquor stores and saying, hey, can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this? It's all about brand recognition and driving up the recognition. The only way these folks can do it is allowing folks to come in from out of state, purchase. I think, honestly, I know 10 cases is not an unreasonable amount for someone coming in from Massachusetts or Connecticut wanting to bring this stuff back home. Again, this is not a zero-sum game. This is a tourism thing, and it does build the local economies. And again, I don't know. I understand the Teamsters' point of view to a certain degree, but there really is no competition. I'll make a counterpoint to the Teamsters' argument. Right now, the blue and red cans that is the solid, the Budweisers, the Anheuser-Busch's, their market share is crumbling. And you can see it in the fact that they're going up and buying all these other smaller breweries to expand their base. The thing is, they're already seeing a decrease in their business. The thing is, the beers, as the Budweisers go away, what's being replaced on Rhode Island shelves are Maine breweries, Michigan breweries, and California breweries. So what we're doing with this regulation, by not allowing our small breweries to expand and allow themselves to get better or more widely known, is we're supporting the Maine economy. We're supporting the California and the Michigan economy because those breweries have been able to expand their name recognition to get people to want to buy that stuff in Rhode Island. We need to allow our breweries to distribute to the degree where they can. You know what? The goal should be for almost all these breweries to get to the point where they can only sell one case. Because right now, the larger guys can only sell one case because they're distributing. The goal should be to get everybody get to one case, because now all these breweries are distributing, not just in Rhode Island, but in Massachusetts and across the rest of the country. So I would hope, again, I understand the Teamsters' point of view. Unfortunately, it's just not right. Because again, it's not a zero-sum game. Everybody wins when these little breweries can sell more beer out the front door. They win because someday they're going to be delivering maybe the stuff from Bravo Brewing. Right now, Bravo Brewing's not going to get that opportunity to get on the Teamsters trucks. They want to give business to the Teamsters. That's their goal. They want the Teamsters to keep these good paying jobs. They want a chance to have that opportunity. So again, Madam Chair, I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to speak. And again, I obviously do highly endorse Representative Caldwell's legislation. And again, I'll take any questions from anybody on the committee.
Thank you, Representative Place. Any questions for the representative? Representative Fenton Fong?
Yeah, and it's just kind of echoing what you're saying, David, too. This is, when we're taking a look at this, one, things that have become painfully obvious is that we're not competitive with any nearby states. It absolutely is a tourism thing, as much as growing up on Quinnipiac Island, the wineries have become. And you come in, just think when we go to California, whether it's Napa or Sonoma, it's the same type of thing. We love to take that little bit and bring it home and find, sell it to our other, or not sell, but, bring it to other friends and get their buy-in. I think you're right. I think we want all these microbreweries to be so wildly successful that they end up distributing, going into the liquor stores. And I think this is the way. I completely appreciate both you and Representative Caldwell bringing these bills up, because this is what we're trying to do. Make this more, make us more competitive with the neighboring states to foster just another industry. And I think it's time for us to get out of the way. So thank you so much for your bill.
Yeah, you brought up some very good points, and we do want to help these businesses thrive. So, I have several of them in my district as well. In South Kingstown, we have a couple of breweries, and a new vineyard is coming in soon. So that's exciting news in the middle of this pandemic. But I don't know, Representative Price, did you want to introduce your bill?
Place.
Did I say slice?
No, Price. You called me Price, and
No, I think
there's a big difference.
No, I swear I didn't, but I certainly didn't mean it. Do you want to, I don't always see eye to eye, but on this one we may. And I don't think I called you Christ, but I apologize. I meant to say place. Do you want to put your bill in play before you leave?
No, I think, quite frankly, my legislation was originally written as a place setter for the Brewers Guild, because at one point in time last year, as COVID was creeping in, they weren't sure if they're going to get something in, and so I had submitted it. And unbeknownst to me, again, they had gone on, they had worked with Representative Caldwell to get the actual bill in. So quite frankly, you've already taken the vote on my bill. I'm not going to waste the committee's time, because her bill is a much better bill than mine.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your testimony. And I think we have one more witness. Oh, he's coming back? You sure you want to leave, Representative Place? He's coming back.
Done this before.
I don't know. Are we going to give him a second turn?
There's also one on the previous bill, on Michael West.
Yeah, let's get Michael Webster on. Is this Michael Webster? Michael, are you with us?
I am, yes.
Oh, great. So you're here before this House Committee on Small Business, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my call. First off, I just wanted to say that I am in support of the bill 5255 and wanted to recognize some of the excellent points that Representative Place had made. First off, I just wanted to kind of state that how much craft beer in the U.S. has been growing over the past, let's say, 10 to 15 years. And in my experience, I've been working with microbreweries for about 10 in the states of Massachusetts and Connecticut. I'm new to Rhode Island, and I'm happy to be a part of participating in support of this bill. Over this time that we've seen these craft breweries grow exponentially, we're at around 8,000 nationally, and these breweries have contributed to thousands of more jobs to help local economies, to the points of tourism, these beer trips that people will do for restaurants, the bus tours. It helps with hiking, taking out the national scenery. Basically, people who are unfamiliar with areas, they will just travel to just because they want to visit this brewery that they heard from their friends or their family. To the notion that liquor stores would be a little bit handicapped by this, liquor stores have the ability to sell more than just beer. They have, us as breweries want to help them grow, and making our product more available, this bill will only allow us to do that. So my points are quite brief, but I just wanted to basically let my support be known and be willing to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you very much, Michael. Any questions of the witness? Hearing none, that concludes testimony on House Bill 5255.